Hello, this is Jennifer Steckel from the Direwolf Project. Thank you for joining us today. In today's video, we're going to talk about another wolf dog attack from WD-40 near Parksville in Vancouver Island in Canada. Yesterday, March 15th, 2024, it was reported by Global News that WD-40, the wolf dog in Coombs, has now attacked another dog. This time it's an Australian Shepherd who was off leash during a walk in the area. This Australian Shepherd saw a deer and decided to chase after it. When the owner called the dog back, the dog came running toward the owner and the wolf dog came following after.
On a leash and always within reach. After a close call, these two aren't taking any chances.
I was scared I was going to lose him. That was the only thing going through my mind at that time.
Trevor Hawking and his dog Riley were out for their morning walk last Thursday when the 5-year-old Australian Shepherd took off after some deer. But he wasn't the only one in pursuit.
When he was running back to me, there was the wolf dog right behind him, and it latched onto his rear end and knocked him right to the ground and started chewing on him.
Hawking ran to break up the fight, yelling loudly, getting the wolf dog to back off. When it finally walked away with a chunk of Riley's fur in his mouth, he managed to snap these photos.
There is a growing frustration in the Coombs area. None of the authorities will step up and take responsibility for this wolf dog. The owner of this Australian Shepherd has said that he is very happy that his dog is not seriously injured. Last November, this same wolf dog that they have dubbed WD-40 killed a family's dog staying at the Coombs County campground. Residents in the Coombs area have been raising concerns about this wolf dog since last November. It is unclear where the animal came from or how it ended up in the area, although there are rumors that this wolf dog was dropped off from a vehicle and then began circulating the community.
The wolf dog has been terrorizing the Coombs area since it was abandoned here back in September. Dubbed WD-40 for its ability to slip away from all attempts at trapping it. In that time, several dogs have been attacked. One, named Ocean, was killed.
She made us smile and laugh every single day.
Her owners starting this petition in her honor, calling on the federal government to take action on abandoned animals.
We wish for nobody to have to experience what we have gone through. This animal, sad to say, does need to be put down.
The biggest issue is that the authorities in the area all have said that they don't have the jurisdiction. At one point, an organization called Find Lost and Escaped Dogs or FLED was called out and then they offered to help. They put a trap out and that's why this particular wolf dog received the title WD-40 because he was slippery and he would not go into the trap. Very intelligent animal. Since that time, apparently Find Lost and Escaped Dogs or FLED has now pulled out of the area amidst the controversy, the growing animosity from the community. FLED's co-founder Gary Shade told Global News last year that the situation has highlighted frustrating gaps in the way animals are managed on the island. So think about this. The BC Conservation Officer Service said that they wouldn't touch it because it's not a true wolf. It's not a true wolf, it's a wolf dog. Animal control has limitations on what they can do and does not have anyone who is qualified to use a tranquilizer gun, where conservation officers do. So let me just repeat that. Animal control says that they do not have anyone who is qualified to use a tranquilizer gun. So now apparently you have to be qualified to use a tranquilizer gun. But then they say that the conservation officers do. So let's find out what they have to say. In a statement, the Regional District of Nanaimo said the local animal control contractor did try to set up a trap, but the district had no jurisdiction on Crown Island. The BC SPCA said it is not actively investigating, but the Minister of Environment, who represents who? The Conservation Officer Service, said that the SPCA does have jurisdiction. What we're looking at here is the animal control is saying they don't have the qualification to use a tranquilizer gun, and they cite that the conservation officers do. The Conservation Officers Service says the British Columbia SPCA has the authority, but the British Columbia SPCA says they don't have the authority. And then they also cite the Conservation Officer Service as the people who are supposed to go in. On its website, the British Columbia SPCA said in an update last November that it has the authority to intervene in cases of animal cruelty, neglect, and distress, but that only applies when wildlife are kept in captivity. The Wildlife Act in British Columbia does not currently apply to hybrid wild domestic animals or wolf dogs such as this one. So the BC SPCA has decided that it is not going to intervene or get involved. Quote from the BC SPCA, currently the Regional District of Nanaimo contracts their animal control services from Coastal Animal Control Services of BC. The Society does have contracts for animal control and kenneling services with several municipalities and regional districts, but the RDN is not one of them. Without an animal control contract in the RDN, the British Columbia SPCA has no legal authority to apprehend this animal, as it would be considered a stray dog under current legislation. Do you see the issue here? The current legislation does not specifically point out wolf-dog hybrid legislation. It's neither a wild animal nor a domesticated dog. It lies in between, and unfortunately, it's causing havoc to the residents in the area. So there's a legal battle going on. And who's in the middle? The wolf dog and the community members themselves. They are left to defend themselves without any support from the authorities. And when they do decide to truly defend themselves, when it becomes a menace to humans and not just the dogs in the area, I don't think the authorities are going to look kindly on the way the wolf dog is dispensed or dealt with. So unfortunately, there is a big issue with wolf dog ownership. And that is the fact that regulations and legislation in some areas, like in this area of British Columbia on Vancouver Island, are in dire need of upgrades. And the community, those people who are upset and determined to do something, they need to go to legislation. They need to have laws on the books for dogs that have wolf content. Unfortunately, that's not the case at this moment. And in my opinion, the laws on the books should say any wolf content of any kind should be deemed a wolf dog, and you should have wolf dog regulations in place on the books specifically for dogs that have wolf content. It's provable by DNA, and DNA is readily available. So if there's a question, you can find out at least that. There needs to be legislation. The people in this community in British Columbia on Vancouver Island need to gather together and change the law or add to the law for this specific issue, so that the authorities cannot say, I don't have the authority, he has the authority. Then the next authority figure says, oh, I don't have the authority, he has the authority, and then nobody is doing anything. And unfortunately, it's the wolf dog itself and the community members themselves that are caught in the middle. The United States has quite a difficult situation as well. In the United States, there is no federal regulation, which I agree with. I believe each state needs to have its own regulation. However, wolf dogs are dangerous, especially mid to high content wolf dogs. There needs to be on the books, in the files, in the law for the state, how to deal with wolf dogs. Okay, of any content. Because a low content wolf dog can inherit wolf temperament. It depends on the breeding. You can't be sure what the content is. So if I make a 30% line, there could be a dog that has 29% that has the temperament, more of a temperament of the wild wolf. Because that's how genetics is. So you have to go all the way down to any wolf content at all needs to be considered a wolf dog, and that wolf dog should have separate legislation specifically for wolf dogs. It doesn't matter, something needs to be said in that state, and the state needs to decide what they're going to do. I can have my opinion about what the state should say, but what the state should say should depend on the community members. In my opinion, the state should say that wolf dogs are dangerous animals. I believe they should not be bred. So each state should have specific wording in their legislation that says no person in the state shall own or breed a wolf dog. That's my personal opinion. Wolf dogs are dangerous animals, and people who own wolf dogs have to be of a certain type of person. So if you don't say, if in your state you say wolf dogs are allowed to be owned, then the person who owns the wolf dog needs to at least pass some sort of background check, okay? Or have some sort of proof that they can house and take care of a wolf dog's special needs. For example, they need to prove that they have an enclosure that is at least 10 feet tall, enclosed on the top, and enclosed under the ground with the wire that the wolf dog cannot escape from. Okay, that needs to be in the legislation. That wording needs to be in the legislation. It needs to be that specific. And people who cannot prove that their home has these specific amenities, then they should not be allowed to have a permit in order to own a wolf dog. And it's very similar to a wild wolf, only wolf dogs are more dangerous than wild wolves, than 100% wolf. And the reason why is because wolf dogs can be friendly initially and then turn on you and attack when the human being is not understanding the signals that are coming from the animal that is emitting wild behaviors. So every state should have legislation specifically on wolf dogs. They are a different category than a full wolf, and they are a different category than a domesticated dog. If your state doesn't have any legislation whatsoever about wolf dogs, you may find that someone who lets their wolf dog out, which happens regularly, they just let their wolf dog out into the wild because they can no longer handle him, then you're going to find this exact problem that's happening in Coombs on Vancouver Island. Because there's no legislation, then the authorities are going to say, well, I don't have the authority. That's somebody else. That's somebody else's jurisdiction. And then who's going to be responsible to remove the wolf dog and get it to safety? Like that, you should have that already in place. It's a structure that needs to be in place because wolf dogs are dangerous animals. And it's proven by how many difficult situations we have with wolf dogs, especially ones that escape or are abandoned. I mean, we're talking about real lives, human lives, dogs' lives that end when wolf dogs attack, and wolf dog lives, because wolf dogs are regularly euthanized. Many wolf dogs live in rescues if they survive. Rescues are full to the brim. They have waiting lists 3 years out. Wolf dogs are regularly euthanized. Wolf dog breeders should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for bringing more of these animals into the world when they know ahead of time that that animal is likely going to be euthanized before it is 3 years old. That's so shameful. I don't know. I mean, there's no other way to put that. You're getting money for an animal when you know that animal is going to live a very difficult life, statistically. Yes, there are people who have the responsibility and the understanding and the knowledge and the facilities to house a wolf dog properly, but they are very few and far between. They are very few. That's because there is so much confusion out there about what a wolf dog is. You can find channels with millions of followers talking about how friendly and how sweet and how loving wolf dogs are. Well, they can be. They can be. Some of them can be. But a majority of them are confused animals that don't know how to live in a domesticated world because of their wild parts. And when you have a confused animal, that's suffering and torture. And when you have so many of them in the world, it's shameful. And then to bring more of them into the world, it's criminal, in my opinion. So therefore, each state should have a ban on wolf dog breeding, first of all. No state in the United States should allow wolf dog breeding, in my opinion, period. And then wolf dog ownership should be highly regulated. It's a confused, part wild animal that needs special consideration. Wolf dog ownership isn't even required because there are alternatives to owning dogs with actual wolf content. If you don't mind having a dog that is high energy, that needs a lot of exercise every day, then The Siberian Husky is a beautiful breed, looks very wolfy. Unfortunately, you have to have the right ownership for that too, because of the high energy and, the independence of that particular breed, but that's an option. Another option is the Alaskan Malamute. Many of them are very nice dogs, and if you want a giant one, there's those out there. There are those out there. Alaskan Malamutes can be very nice. Some of them can be independent. Some of them do have energy, but they're a relatively quiet breed. And so that's also an option. If you don't want to have a working dog and you still want a giant dog that looks like a wolf, then consider the Dire Wolf Project. Our dogs are companion dogs bred to be quiet and calm and gentle and sweet and all of that. So the American Direst from the Dire Wolf Project is also an option. But the point is, there are options out there. You don't have to own a wolf dog. And so therefore, legislation could also say ban on wolf dog ownership. There could be states out there that can say no to wolf dog ownership. So then you move to the state that allows wolf dog ownership. That's what this channel is for. In order to bring light and understanding to what it means to actually own a wolf dog. Wolf dog ownership is not for everyone. And because there are alternatives out there, it's important to understand what those alternatives are so that you can make an informed choice. So don't believe these wolf dog groups and wolf dog channels that are touting how wonderful wolf dogs can be. That's not the majority. That's a vast minority of wolf dogs. If you want to learn more about the Dire Wolf Project, go to direwolfproject.com. When you're there, sign up for our newsletter so that you can find out about what we do. We send out a new email every Monday through Friday explaining everything that goes on at the Dire Wolf Project. It's a viable alternative to owning a confused and oftentimes difficult wolf dog. Our dogs are 100% domesticated, just like the Siberian Husky and the Alaskan Malamute. However, our particular breed is a breed of companion dog, not a working dog breed. Thank you for listening today, and I really hope that Coombs wolf dog can find its answers before the terrible statistics fall its way. God bless you all, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.